Well, hello there. I look very yellow today.
You do for some reason.
Um,
Oh, there you go. A little
it's
less yellow.
it depends on like where I sit in my chair, but like if I get like a little bit closer, it kind of goes away. It's because my light is really yellow, but anyways. In the summer it won't be like this because then I can have the windows open.
Yeah.
But anyways, not the point. Welcome to the Pinball Podcast. I'm your host, Liz. I'm joined as always by my co-host, Marcus.
Hello. It's me.
It's you. Happy Saturday.
Yeah, happy Saturday. Happy, nothing's going on today. Happy continuing new beginnings day. Because, I think Okada defended the title against Shingo today. There was the loser leaves Japan match between Jay White and Hikuleo. We didn't watch that. Probably will later. At least I will.
I've had it spoiled for me already, so.
I mean, I had some stuff spoiled, like who challenges Okada next, who challenges Hiromu. I didn't have any matches spoiled, although I can assume Okada beats Shingo.
Yeah, I had the loser leaves Japan match spoiled for me.
Ah, okay. Well, don't spoil it for the rest of us because I still gotta watch it.
Well, it doesn't help when you go on Twitter and certain wrestlers are like writing what happened, and you're like,
Well, now I have a feeling what happens because there's only one wrestler in that match that would have written about what happened, and only one reason they wrote about what happened.
no, it wasn't a wrestler in the match that I'm
Oh,
talking about.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have no predictions to make today. I got a fun little activity for us later. And we haven't done this in a while, but we'll be answering your questions if you leave them in the chat. If you leave them on YouTube in the comments of our previous video, can't do that at this point. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, leave a comment in this video. We'll answer it in the next podcast. About wrestling, AEW, WWE, anything, non-wrestling, anything goes. But if you're watching on Twitch, leave your question in the chat and we'll answer it at the end of the show. If you're listening on Spotify, which I don't know how long after this airs that you'll be listening to this on Spotify because I don't know when Liz puts these on Spotify nowadays. DM us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast with a question that you've got. All right, so we had a lot of stuff today, this week. Yeah, there's quite a bit of Jey Uso bloodline stuff that's gonna be talked about. I watched New Beginning on the 5th, which I think was Sunday. Which had Hiromu versus Yo, Zack versus Ishii, and TMDK versus Bishamon. We had Lita show up in Raw. We had Ilya Dragunov returned, Meiko Satomura returning next week. Potential injury on Dynamite. Tag team titles switched. And a great trios match. The Hex returning to Impact, or debuting at Impact. And then Ronda Rousey is back.
Yay!
And so is Jey Uso.
Yay!
You want to talk about some news?
Yeah, we can talk about a little bit of news. Let me pull the news up, shall I? Okay. Sorry about that. Let's see. Where do we want to start? We've actually got quite a bit of news. Let's start with. I'm just going to start where I'm starting. You remember Amari Miller?
Yes, I do remember Amari Miller.
She apparently, according to Fightful, tore her ACL, and she is scheduled to undergo surgery.
Oh, no.
So, I guess she is. She seems like she's still with NXT.
Can't remember the last time we saw her.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, she was in the Battle Royal.
oh, okay, okay.
I guess they really didn't do anything to point her out though,
Yeah.
because I don't remember her being there either.
There were a lot of people in
Um,
that, so.
yeah, that's true. And speaking of NXT talent that fucking got JD McDonough. I don't know if this is like kayfabe or if this is real. I think it might be real. He suffered a detached retina.
Oh,
Yeah, didn't know your retina could detach.
yeah, I didn't know that either.
Um, but his eye looks really gross. Not really gross, like not like Christopher Daniels, but like it's just all red. And not like pop blood vessel red, just like
Mm,
pink eye red.
okay.
Um, but he has to wait. He's sidelined for 10 to 14 days.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say months, which feels about right
No.
for an eye injury.
Yeah, I was like, it was one of those things where I was like, never knew that that could happen. Also, never knew that that was it was such a short timeline to return.
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks max.
Yeah. Um, and then in other injury news, um, the bunny has to undergo medical testing, um, because they were worried about her, what happened during Dynamite, which we'll talk about, um, when Jamie Hayter landed on her head.
Yeah.
Um, they were worried that she had either suffered a concussion or a broken orbital bone.
Yeah, people on Twitter and on Reddit were making like dumb assumptions. They're saying it was her foot or her leg when she was obviously holding her head just before, the haterade, around when they were like kind of checking on her. People saying it was a broken nose, but she wasn't touching her nose at all. It was like very clearly a skull injury, or
Yeah,
a
also
brain injury.
I'm pretty sure when you break your nose, 9 times out of 10 it's bloody.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
but hopefully it's not that bad. I mean the landing did look really bad, but
well, neither option's really like great. Like a concussion sucks.
mhm.
Broken orbital bone means that she'll be out for however long, and she's been like dealing with injuries constantly,
Yeah. How long
which
was Will Ospreay? Oh no, it was Sonata who was out with a broken orbital bone. How long
he
was he
was
out
it
for?
it really depends. He was out for a handful of months. It really depends on like um how bad the break is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hopefully she recovers because she like just came back too. Recovers
Yeah.
quickly, I mean.
Sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully she recovers. Um Speaking of recovering, Jerry Lawler was released from the ICU and he was cleared to return to his home. He suffered the stroke on the 7th. Um and he's going to go through outpatient rehab, um to deal with his, what, as they put it on his Twitter, will return to his Florida home for outpatient rehab for his limited speech and cognitive skills. Which I don't know if they meant that like the limited problems that he's having, or the fact that like his like speech and cognitive skills are limited.
Well, that happens as a result of the stroke.
Well, I know
So
how strokes work.
I know, but like it's getting back all of your functionality after you have the stroke, um, and yeah, I guess just getting him back to being, vocally functional. I guess
Yeah, doctors think that he'll make a full recovery though. So
that's good.
yeah. Um Okay, so let's talk about really quickly some WWE stuff. Kota Ibushi said that he is not opposed to working with WWE again. He said that he's not worried about being held down because um, he said, "I don't think there's anyone who can control me even in that frame. I live so freely." And I was like, "Hey, you do, buddy. Live your dream."
So is he saying he's fine being on a contract? I thought his whole thing was
Well,
he didn't
okay.
want to be on one.
I think what he's saying is that he's interested in working with them, but he's not interested in being like tied to them. Which, as we get further and further into the Triple H era, it's not the craziest thing to say, I don't think.
But I also don't think that Triple H is that far minded from Vince in that aspect. Like, I don't think they're gonna bring in many, you know, freelancers to have like big moments. I would assume it's like, you know, Royal Rumble spot. We could see Kota Ibushi in next year. Um, maybe like a little bit of a um maybe like a spot in the elimination chamber. But I feel like, you know, if they want to have like a big moment, I guess, like they'd have to be putting Kota over their own guys. And that's been a big no-no in WWE. You put your guys first and that's that. Um or they could do what you know, what AEW did with like Thatcher. Have him come in for a one-off as like a hand-selected opponent for someone. Could see something like that. You know, like maybe
Yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura or Finn Balor have like a feud with Edge, and Edge is like, I have this hand-picked opponent for you, someone from your past, you know.
Yeah. It's always possible. Um, like I said, I don't know exactly what his um idea of what he wants to do is, but it seems like it just seems like he's very open to like exploring different avenues as he like explores his new free agency,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, we're already seeing how great it's going to be with the dream match against Mike Bailey.
Yeah. Um and also the WWE is getting a little more open about things because they are going to start allowing NXT talent to work in certain select indies.
Well, apparently that's not exactly true. I think it was a media call
Okay.
with Shawn Michaels saying it's just a one-off with Ivy Nile going to Booker T's promotion. It's not
Okay.
as grandiose
Well,
as it makes it seem.
to be fair, select indies still matches that.
Right, but it's not like, you know, it's not like anyone can just, it's not like AEW where like, you know, talent can just do whatever they want. They're truly independent contractors. It's like they're kind of loaning out Ivy Nile.
Mhm. Um In some other news, also WWE news, apparently Bianca Belair and Montez Ford started filming a Hulu reality series at
Hmm,
Royal Rumble. So that'll be fun to watch.
interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Did you hear
Whatever that ends up being.
did you hear what Seth Rollins said about, you know, a reality show about him and Becky?
No,
He was asked about it. I forget where, but he said absolutely not. Like he would never do a reality show about their relationship.
I don't blame him. I feel like it takes a very certain type of person to do a reality show.
Hmm. Yeah, I
You
mean
know?
like the like Cody and Brandy, Bianca and Tez, to an extent like Nikki Bella and John Cena.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but I'm interested in seeing what that is because I am nosy.
Yeah.
Well, there's also Ms. and Mrs.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. Forgot about that.
yeah. Um, all right, some other news. Davey Richards' contract in MLW is going to expire in the spring. I was going to say
Ooh.
in spring 2023, but I realized that it is 2023, so the spring.
Interesting. He'd be a good grab for someone, for any company at this point. He is I think getting up there in age, so I don't know if he'd be
He is.
somebody that WWE would go for. Although I don't know what their hiring policy is now with older people, because he's 39. He's younger than Finn Balor, um, which is always like my my bar with wrestling ages. Is like, are they older or younger than Finn Balor?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, he'd be a cool pickup for Ring of Honor, or Impact. At this point, I don't
Yeah.
think AEW would do much with him. Um,
I'd like to see him I'd like to see him on television.
yeah,
Yeah.
which
But
like
yeah, I
MLW
don't
was
know
on
if he's like
television, but
well, yeah, but they're not.
not national.
Um yeah. Um but I don't think that he's like ready to stop yet. It does not seem like he is.
Yeah,
Just his attitude in general.
yeah. I want to see him on national television before he stops. See him on WWE Impact. He wasn't he on Impact for like a second? I know he was like a while ago before
He
we started
was
watching.
for no, he was on there because they had like that match. It was like Brian Hebner's last match, I think, where it was like an 8-man tag and it was him and like Kazarian and
Maybe Josh.
maybe Josh and somebody else against like
I,
probably Honor No More or
I
some
think it
shit
was
like
Honor No
that.
More because I think Eddie Edwards was a part of it.
Yeah.
It was around when Eddie was starting out as a heel. Hmm.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be the weirdest thing for him to like even just like do like a hey, I'm here, spend a little time in Impact for a little while and see what he wants to do. Because I know Impact's pretty good about being like, oh, you want to hang out for a little bit? Sure, have fun,
Yeah.
come through, you know.
And I mean, they are kind of the crop when it comes to hiring for bigger companies. So it's not the worst thing for them to load up on talent, unlike AW.
Yeah.
Um, so Davey Richards definitely wouldn't be the worst grab for them.
No.
Put
Um.
together, get the Wolves back together.
Also in other news, but semi-related, not related, but sort of kind of in theme. Um, Himeka announced that she is going to be retiring from Stardom. And her final match is going to be against Meika, at All Star Grand Queendom on the 23rd of April.
Huh. Interesting. She's only
Yeah.
25. She's retiring?
She might be doing a Leo Rush, honestly, where she retires and then she comes back, but I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah.
Man. Never seen someone besides Leo Rush retire that soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be for, if it's going to be forever. It might not be. Yeah.
Um Oh yeah, I'm seeing here she's doing a whole retirement tour. So the match with Micah is part of it. A hardcore match with Riza Sarah on February 26th. Singles match with Sendai Girls Chihiro Hashimoto, and then a singles match against Kakiro Sekiguchi. Um, hmm. And then yeah, her last match will be against Micah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Um, and then in our final piece of news, AW made a media deal with ESPN. Um, for not for anywhere near here. For Australia, the New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. So they'll be on ESPN now, which I think is actually really cool
It's cool. Get
to
your
kind of get their
VPNs
foot in
out.
that Disney door.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but to get your foot in the Disney door a little bit,
I wonder if that
making
will
moves.
I wonder if that'll affect Disney potentially buying WWE.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I feel like it wouldn't be the most outlandish thing because it's not like, um, I don't know. It could affect it.
It could.
Hmm.
It's a curious little thing.
At this point, I
So
feel like Disney might just be out of the race. And I feel like Comcast might be the lead right now.
yeah, I don't know, but I thought that that was very interesting in the implications.
Yeah, yeah. All
So
right. Any other news, or is that it?
that was our last piece.
All right. So you want to talk about some wrestling from this week?
Yeah, sure. I guess we could.
All right. So we had the usual shows this week plus a New Japan show. Again, we didn't watch today's, but will be later. Did not watch Rampage either because we were busy and didn't want to catch up on it because nothing really happened besides the Impractical Jokers getting powerbombed through a table.
Yeah.
That seems about it. So we had New Beginning, where we have kind of the New Beginning tour right now, series. Sunday's show was headlined by 3 title matches. TMDK versus Bishamon for the tag titles, which was awesome. It seems like TMDK are kind of becoming like one of the bigger factions in New Japan. Now they got Zack. They have Fujita or Oiwa. Which young lion do they have?
Sorry, Fujita.
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 Don't they have another member? Did they recruit someone else?
I don't know. I haven't been watching.
I could have sworn they recruited someone else, but I can't remember. And yeah, this match was awesome. Bishamon retain via Shoto. We also had Zack Sabre Jr. versus Tomohiro Ishii for the New Japan World TV title. This was awesome. Zack wins with the Zack Driver. Absolutely great match. And definitely a good sign for this title going forward. And you know what? I gotta be honest. I've warmed up to how the title looks. It's a good looking title. When you see it in action around like Zack's shoulder, like after a match or something, it looks good. The kind of
Let me
orange
be honest. That
strap.
boy can make anything look good.
Well, maybe not the KOPW title. Maybe not that belt because
Yeah, well,
that's an ugly
okay,
belt.
that's fair.
But I think this belt's pretty good. It's sizable too. Like it's not small.
I just still can't get over the fact that they were like, when Zack won, they could not get it to like stay around his waist. Like it took both Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols. They both tried,
Mm-hmm.
and they could not get it to stay. And I was like, oh my god. But that's just me.
But Zack did say after the match that it's the title for younger people. It's the title for up and comers. So at Battle of the Valley, he wants to challenge one of those up and comers, or have one of them challenge him. And so at Battle in the Valley, it's gonna be him versus Clark Connors for the TV title, and that's gonna be next weekend. That's gonna be a ton of fun. It's gonna be tough, with that and Elimination Chamber happening at the same exact time.
Well, no, it's not same exact time. Remember,
It's an hour later, but like still, they're gonna be overlapping.
it's not.
You said it's at 9.
The pre-show's at 9.
Okay, well then there's still gonna be a little bit of overlap.
A little bit. I mean, like, it won't be hard, especially because of how New Japan works. Like, the first few matches probably are going to be like matches, and then like the good shit's going to be later. So like, we'll probably have more ability to focus on it.
Yeah. You did break up a bit there, but got your points out. Um,
You got your points out. Aw.
um, but yeah, my point still stands about there will be overlap. Um, so, and then the main event was Hiromu Takahashi versus Yo for the junior heavyweight title. This match was phenomenal. This was an incredible match. Yo has completely improved his character, improved his look. He's wearing all black now. He brought a giant like pad to the ring with like strategies written out. And the whole story going into this was he's written up counters to all of Hiromu's moves. And he basically knows everything Hiromu's gonna do. And Hiromu pulled out new shit in this match, like brand new stuff we've never seen from him, in order to counter Yo's counters. It was really cool stuff. Hiromu retained with the time bomb, and the next challenger for Hiromu is going to be Lio Rush, so Yo's tag partner. And I think that's going to be a battle in the Valley. I wonder if Kenny's going to defend the title at Battle in the Valley.
Wouldn't be the craziest thing.
I mean, Kenny's reign is kind of frustrating because, you know, he hasn't shown any inkling of defending it. Hasn't been in New Japan at all since Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Battle in the Valley would be the perfect place for him to defend it, because what else is he doing? There's no AEW pay-per-views. It's in America. It's not like he's going all the way to Japan. But I mean, it's next weekend. It's a week, literally a week from today, and there's been no match announced for that. So
Yeah. That's why I was like kind of confused when he got the belt in the first place, because I was like, this boy's already holding a title over in America. Like,
maybe their thought process was like, Kenny holding it's huge, and we have Okada with the heavyweight belt, so he can defend a lot, have a lot of title matches, having it be okay that Kenny doesn't defend it so much. But at the same time, I mean, I just want to see, you know, Kenny have singles matches. Like,
yeah.
that was my whole excitement with him winning it. But at the very least, at least Will Ospreay's still having singles matches. Apparently his match against Taichi was awesome.
That doesn't shock me.
Yeah.
Taichi's good at putting on bangers. I feel like he's like very underappreciated in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about some Raw. We had not too much stuff happened on this Raw. You know, we had a couple qualifiers for the Elimination Chamber. Damian Priest beat Angelo Dawkins to qualify. Montez Ford beat Elias to qualify, exactly as one would predict. We had JBL leave Corbin, because apparently that just wasn't working out. So Corbin has no manager, which he doesn't need a manager. Corbin has never needed a manager in the first place. He is fully capable of getting himself over as a heel. He can talk. He can do everything himself.
Yeah. He's one of those heels who likes being a heel, and he does it well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's never worried about being a dick. And even as like when he was Baron Corbin, he was good.
I mean,
So I don't understand what they've been like, or King Corbin, sorry.
Yeah.
He was good. Like, there was never a point in time where I was like, this guy needs somebody to be talking for him. And then they just started pairing him with tag teams, or with like, you know, with Moss, and then they had JBL, and it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, and hopefully under Triple H, he'll have a better run. Um, but glad he's away from JBL. Glad
Yeah.
he's gonna be by himself, and hopefully he gets some actual notable wins because Corbin's a phenomenal wrestler. He's a phenomenal speaker. He's a very well-rounded performer.
Yeah.
Let's see what else do we have. We have the Hurt Business get their first win over Alpha Academy, which is awesome. Hurt Business is Cedric and Shelton are both great wrestlers, so glad they're getting wins now. We had Cody Rhodes and Paul Heyman with probably promo of the year. Oh my god. Both of them cried in the ring.
And apparently they both like they just can't kind of came up with that shit on their own. Like nobody like sent them out there with like a script or anything. They were just like, all right, so be fun.
Amazing. And it all felt so genuine too. Like none of it felt like a script.
Yeah.
It was all talking about Cody's dad, and then Paul just driving that knife in the back when he said, your father trained so many wrestlers. He made so many stars, one of which was Roman Reigns, but he didn't train you. Roman Reigns was the son that he always wanted. And oh my god, after such a genuine segment, such a heartfelt promo, just digging it in. Oh my god.
Paul did say though that bit was like good, but the way he said it was kind of weird because he was like, "Your father told me that Roman was the son that he always wanted," or something like that, and I was like, "That seems very specific, Paul." I feel like maybe he didn't say that exactly, but you know what? Let's just go with it.
For the sake of kayfabe.
Yeah, I was like, I'll believe that.
But that perfectly, sets up the match for Mania. And everyone was worried, like, with Cody being involved in this story now. Like, is he just being tacked on because, he's Cody? No, it very much makes sense now. Like, we have these two legacies. The whole theme here is family. Paul has history with Cody's family. He's just like with Brock. Paul's the middleman. He's the guy stuck in between. And I feel like now it only makes sense for Cody to be in this feud. And he's also putting over Sami Zayn, which is the best part.
Yeah. I think that I heard somebody say that the reason that they didn't want um the reason that they like something to do with the fact that like, they were worried that like if it came down to Cody and Sammy and like fans having to choose between the two of them, they would choose Sammy.
Yeah.
And so like now like they're trying to like produce with that in mind.
And it makes a lot of sense. And yeah, and it also explains like, why we haven't seen Kevin Owens since Royal Rumble. You don't want to take away from Sammy's glory right now, because he is his own guy who gets his own pop. If you had someone else come in and kind of interrupt it, quote unquote, you take away from that. You take from Sammy's genuine pop and give it to a return pop in Kevin Owens, because people are not going to cheer for Kevin Owens, but you also can't take away from what Sammy's doing. And like what Sammy's doing needs to absolutely be on his own by himself. Can't bring in Kevin, you can't bring in Cody. And I like that the story with Cody is like he's just sitting on the sideline waiting until Mania. He
Yeah.
might be fighting Sami Zayn. You never know.
Yep. Um I think if you told me when Sammy was like going through his like conspiracy theory phase, like
Yeah.
you know how old that got really fast?
And
And
like
like it felt bad cuz like they made him look like an idiot.
And then the documentary
Um,
that he said was going to release and never released.
if you had told me when we were watching that version of Sammy that we were this like genuine, heartfelt, passionate Sami Zayn, probably would have told you that you're fucking crazy.
Not
I would
only
have been like, I
that,
hope, but like,
but he was the biggest babyface in the company,
yeah.
and could be the driving force to break up the bloodline. Like that, I
Who
feel
would
like
have thunk it?
that's the power. I'm not going to say that's the power of Triple H because I feel like it's more so the power of not having Vince. You know, because Vince was very strict with how he booked people with kind of the regiment that he held. I feel like Triple H is just allowing wrestlers to work storylines themselves, have more creative control. And it's been known that Sammy's a perfectionist. And to the point where some wrestlers even got frustrated with working with Sammy just because of how what's the word? How much of a perfectionist he was.
Anal.
How anal he was, yeah. Um and I could definitely see that being the reason why the storyline's so good because Sammy just wants it to be perfect. And you've
Yeah.
got Paul Heyman, who's an amazing creative mind. You've got Roman Reigns, who's an amazing creative mind, and the Usos as well. Everyone's just like putting in their all in this, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's really an incredible storyline, and I I think that we're lucky that we get to experience it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. The best storyline, one of the best storylines in pro wrestling ever.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Um,
Oh, but before we go forward, somebody I wish I knew who made this connection. But when Roman was pulling the flowers off the lei, after at Royal Rumble after Sammy betrayed him, and you know how like he left them like scattered on the ground.
yeah.
Somebody made the connection that like when they're on the lei and they're like technically on like a vine, like they can stay alive that way. And like that's how, you know, they stay connected and they stay alive. But then if you pull them off, they die.
Mm.
And I thought that was really interesting that like he's destroying like the the vine that kept Sammy to the bloodline, kind
Mm-hmm.
of.
And
Yeah, I
thus
thought that was interesting.
not just destroying Sammy, but the entire bloodline as well.
Mhm. Yeah. I thought it was really interesting. I wish I remembered who said that because like it was smart.
That whole end segment at the Rumble is like one of the best segments ever.
It was like a Renaissance painting in motion.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
At that point, like it didn't matter how long it was going. It didn't matter about the match before. It was just that was so amazing. Um, and who knows how amazing Elimination Chamber is going to be once that match actually happens. Um,
Yeah.
so we also closed out Raw with Becky Lynch versus Bayley in a steel cage match. It was a good match, but Lita came out, helped out Becky, thwarted Damage Control's attempts at interfering, and then Becky got a great moment with Lita in the end, which was very emotional for her, especially after last time Becky and Lita crossed paths. It was
Yeah.
great. We also had NXT. We had Dabba-Kato have his returning match. We had a phenomenal match between Carmelo Hayes and JD McDonough. But then Ilya Dragunov returned, came out, and attacked JD. Great stuff there. We also had Meiko Satomura announced to be Roxanne Perez's tag partner against... who was it against? Was it Gigi and JC? Oh no, it was Kaden and Casey, which is weird. Because they're like, you have no
Was it?
friends. Yeah. Like you have no friends. You're all by yourself.
Oh, Kaden and Katana.
Katana, that's right. Not Casey.
I was like, wait, who's Casey?
We also had a really fun match between Chase U and Pretty Deadly, where Pretty Deadly was all disheveled because of their loss at Vengeance Day. But after a bit, they got their mojo back. Um, and Thea comes.
Just them, one of them screaming. When one of them screamed, "What's the point?"
Oh, it's so good.
Oh,
It's so good.
yeah,
And then Thea runs out covered in smiley buttons because she got kidnapped by Ava Rain prior. Um, Great stuff. It was a pretty fun NXT. I do like it's the thing that bothers me about NXT is like they try to stuff so many matches in there. Like you had Odyssey Jones versus Stax, Valentina Feroz versus Lyra Valkyria, Isla Dawn versus Hannah Paxley, Dabba-Kato versus Dante Chen, Sol Ruka versus Zoe Stark, not even counting Carmella versus JD or Chasey versus Pretty Deadly. But all of them are like under 5 minutes, very short matches. But it's like, just stop. Fewer matches, prolong the matches. Slow down the pace a little bit. I get you want all these guys to get some reps in, but what's Lyra Valkyria versus Valentina Feroz gonna do for Lyra? You know, it being 2 minutes
yeah.
long. Like, what does that do for her?
It's like they were like, you know what? Story writers, go on a break for a couple weeks. We don't need you, and we'll just do these stupid ass like jobber matches. And it's like when we could be having like somebody like I don't know, Abaddon versus Lyra Valkyrie or some shit like that, where like there's a story.
But it's like it's always NXT's always been like this since 2.0 started. It's just like trying to oversaturate it, um, and trying to basically build these guys' skill sets on TV. But you don't need to do that. Do it at the performance center, and then have storylines on TV. People don't want to watch these people learn how to wrestle on TV. I've been saying this since day one of 2.0. Like, just have Dabba-Kato instead of fighting Dante Chen. Just have him fight Apollo Crews. Have that match happen, and everyone question like how good is Dabba-Kato.
Yeah.
Like Sol Ruka versus Zoe Stark is fine because they're both mid-level athletes on the card. They're both roughly the same level. Odyssey Jones versus Stax. I mean, I appreciate the match because Stax won and beat Odyssey Jones, so can't even give that one much shit. But like Isla Dawn versus Tatum Paxley.
I don't know. What I do know is that I'm actually kind of obsessed with like how they're doing the um Stacks Tony D'Angelo story like narrative now,
Yeah.
because like they're like bringing like an element of like emotion to it, and I'm like, ooh, oh, we're getting complex.
Yeah. I wish they had the same level of storytelling when it was them versus Legato, That could have done with a
Yeah,
lot more emotion.
yeah, but I do think that the way that they're doing it now is like really kind of fun. Like it makes me like want to know more.
Yeah.
Like that's his boy.
And then we
Love
rounded
that.
out NXT with Ding Dong Hello, which had Toxic Attraction kind of like, yeah, we're going to be a tag team. We're going to take on Damage Control. And then JC just attacked Gigi and stomped her head through the door. Oh my, did you see the picture of Gigi after that?
No.
She had a big red like gash on her head from just where her head hit the door. Like it was
Oh my God.
gnarly.
I mean, because like the first kick was hard as fuck, and then she like kicked her head against the door, and the door like did not give.
It caved in. The door like literally bent inward because of Gigi's head.
Yeah, I was like, damn, Gigi, I kind of like feel bad for you. Shit.
It doesn't make sense to me either, because during the match, it very much seemed like Gigi was going to be the heel, JC was going to be the face. Now it seems like the other way around.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. No, I don't know what they're doing.
I think a lot of it is because the crowd will cheer for Gigi over JC. Even when Gigi was going all psychotic, crowd still cheered for her.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I did like how Gigi's soul, like the emotional component,
Mm-hmm.
because like she was crying, and maybe that was fueled by the fact that she had just had her head smashed against a door, but she was like genuinely crying, and I was like, wow, I actually feel like I feel like a little sad. Like I feel like a friendship has just ended in front of my eyes.
Both of them have really grown as performers since joining NXT, which is great.
They have, yeah. I didn't realize that they had been on for like 3 years. I think they said like 3 years ago when our journey began, and I was like, "Uh,
I
there's no
think
way."
I think they mean in wrestling in general.
Oh, because I was like, there's no that it's like it hasn't been 3 years.
Let me see on Cage
Couldn't have
Match.
been. There's no way. Maybe two.
Um, well, Gigi started wrestling 7 years ago.
She started wrestling a while ago. Yeah.
Um, tag teams. JC Jane started 6 years ago. Maybe they were signed to WWE as recruits 3 years ago, but they weren't on TV until they were.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
they joined around the same time like Solo Sikoa did. Let's see. There's a group picture of their class together. Oh yeah, they were. I think they joined with Taya Valkyrie and Braun Breaker. So they were that class. Man, it is not easy to find. Performance centers, signees. Okay, yeah. So Priscilla Kelly was signed with Braun Breaker, Taya Valkyrie, LA Knight. Let's see. AQA, Parker Boudreaux, Anthony
Oh,
Henry,
God.
Andre Chase, Zoe Stark.
Harlem Bravado.
Yeah.
God, I remember that.
Cora Jade, Blake Christian. It was supposed to be like the biggest class in recruitment history.
Which, to be completely fair, kind of has been.
Mm-hmm.
Since like the beginning of NXT and like the earlier days where like NXT actually like developed like several 90% of what is like the main roster now. Um that class, for lack of a better word, was pretty successful.
Yeah, yeah.
It is so weird though to think that Andre Chase used to be called Harlem Bravado.
Yeah, it was.
My God.
I think it was like the Bravado brothers, because he
Yeah.
has a brother that was in a tag team with him who doesn't wrestle anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, it's just it gives like such like an air to it that like Andre Chase does not give.
Yeah. So let's move on to Dynamite. We had a lot of fun stuff happen on Dynamite. Started off with MJF versus Konosuke Takeshita. Oh my god, this match was phenomenal. Absolutely incredible match. One of the first matches that MJF actually beat someone clean without any kind of assistance whatsoever, showing how incredible of a wrestler he is. He busts open Takeshita after the match, forcing Danielson to come out um, for the save. After that, we had the Bunny versus Jamie Hayter for eliminator match, and this was definitely
I thought you were gonna say
supposed.
Elimination Chamber.
No,
It's like,
this was definitely supposed to go on longer, but at one point, Jamie's trying to go for an exploder suplex, and the Bunny kind of slips out of it and lands, and then Jamie, still continuing with the suplex, lands right on the Bunny's head. And you see the Bunny is like holding her head. Jamie's like not sure what to do. She tries to do like some stomps, but Bunny's not really selling. Ref's telling her to back off. And then she just gets off a haterade to win. Like it feels like they called an audible for that, which is a shame because
yeah.
the Bunny's incredible. She just came back, and it's a shame that it had to end this quickly.
And the way you know that they had to call an audible was because they had just come back from commercial break.
Yeah, and
Like that was like maybe 2 minutes after they came back from commercial break.
also that MJF interview where he talked about almost killing somebody and admitting to a crime on TV, that was definitely improvised because they needed to pad the time. And they definitely just brought a camera into MJF's locker room and said, "Hey, can you get a promo real quick?" We're kind of
That was wild.
yeah.
That was a wild experience.
And there was a report going around that like 300 people called the police, like the county police, but I forget which news site reached out to the police department, and they said they don't know what they're talking about. They never got a report. So somebody had just said off the cuff that there were 300 reports made when it wasn't actually true. And it just started going around the internet.
People are fucking goofy.
But it was a great promo. MJF, just to recap it real quick, MJF said that he was like driving in a car at night with his girl who just called Liv. And everyone's like, wait, Liv Morgan?
Yeah.
But it definitely was not Liv Morgan. They did not live in the same state at that age.
Liv.
They hit a telephone pole, and Liv was all busted up, and MJF, because the cops were coming, switched seats with her so that he didn't have to take the fall for the accident. And that just showed how ruthless he is, how he'll do anything to get ahead, how much of a bastard he is.
You're missing, I think, a very important detail, which I think he also implied he was getting.
Oh no, we're losing her. Oh no. Well. Oh. No, she's not back.
Okay, I think I'm back.
She's definitely not back still. She's still frozen. Elizabeth, are you there? Oh, there she is. Okay. So anyway, what were you saying? What? Oh, no. And she's gone. Now you're back.
Hey.
So what was MJF implying?
I think he kind of implied that he was getting Roadhead at the time. Or he had gotten Roadhead in the span of that drive.
You see, I didn't get that from that.
I could have sworn he did. I feel like I didn't make it up in my head. I hope I didn't make it up in my head.
I feel like you made it up in your head.
Oh my god, I really hope I didn't.
You see, what I got was that they were drunk. How'd you get Roadhead from that?
We're gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to analyze the tapes.
Um, but anyway, after that we had the Garcia Guevara Gauntlet, which had Ricky Starks running through all of JAS, but he stopped at Daniel Garcia because he received a Judas effect from a masked man in the crowd, who turned out to be Chris Jericho. We also had Roosh versus Bryan Danielson. Amazing match. Absolutely great stuff. Danielson won with a Bazaico knee. Yeah, just absolutely incredible match. Speaking of incredible matches, we had Top Flight and AR Fox versus the Elite. Oh my god, AR Fox is one of the best. He's so damn good.
Yes.
And his chemistry with the Elite was unmatched. To the point that the match was just won with a crucifix pin, like a roll up. It wasn't one with a one-winged angel or anything. Like, it was another example of them just escaping. Wasn't a dominant win. It was just they escaped.
Yeah.
And then we had Top Guns. No, why Top Guns? The Guns versus the Acclaimed. The Ass Boys versus the Acclaimed for the tag titles. And the Guns won after two belt shots. First a belt shot to Billy Gunn, and then one to Anthony Bowens. Yeah, it was a little bit of a mess, but the match was done for that moment of Billy Gunn looking like he was gonna, turn on the Acclaimed. He got in the ring when I think it was Austin had one of the belts, and Billy Gunn kind of held on Bowens, being like, am I gonna turn on the Acclaimed right now? But as Austin charged, he tossed away Anthony Bowens and stopped Austin, but then Colton ran in with another belt, slammed Billy in back with the head with it, and then Austin hit Bowens with his belt to get the win. And the Guns are now the tag champs. Which, I mean, it's not the worst choice. Good story development.
It's not.
And it's been the
It's
thing that, has been a lot of complaints in AEW is like too many predictable wins.
Yeah, it's unexpected, which I'll give them that. If nothing else, I'll give them that.
Yeah. And the commentary also said that, the story between the Guns and the Acclaimed is not over. So we also had Impact. Nothing really happened during Impact. The main event was a digital media title match between Matt Cardona and Joe Hendry, which is pretty fun. But the big thing to talk about here is Father James Mitchell coming out after Killer Kelly and Taylor Wilde lose to Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. He came out and said he's gonna put a hex on Taya and Rosemary and Jessica. And the hex came out. Marty Bell and Allison Kay. They're now in the Impact Zone. And they're awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to more women.
Well,
Not that they're lacking women, but it's cool to have.
They were definitely lacking women's tag teams.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is awesome. Last time we saw them was Ring of Honor, I think. It was like Final Battle or Death Before Dishonor, one of those two. It was one of the new Ring of Honor pay-per-views.
Yeah. I don't remember now. But they looked great.
Yeah. At No Surrender, we're also going to get Kenta in Impact. It's going to be Kenta, Ace Austin, and Chris Bay versus Time Machine, Kushida, Alex Shelley, and Chris Sabin. So that's going to be fun. And then finally we had a SmackDown.
A SmackDown?
We did have SmackDown.
No,
Uh,
the way you said it sounded like a SmackDown.
I did say a SmackDown.
Oh, okay.
Paul Heyman opened up the show. In the ring, Sammy shows up and, basically says, like, he's going to end the reign of Roman Reigns. It was some really great stuff between them. We then went to Jimmy trying to call Jey. Paul Heyman walks in and he's like, Jimmy, looks like you're going to have to defend the titles on your own. Which we did have that match. Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus the Usos for the tag titles. And Jey showed up at the beginning of the match, helped defend the titles. They won with an Uso splash. But now it's like, did Jey show up for the titles? Or did Jey show up for the bloodline? And, like, is he loyal to Jimmy? Or is he loyal to Roman? And going back to that, we had Sammy and Jey in the parking lot. Sammy tried to make sure he's still on his side. He says he acknowledges Jey, and tried to get a fist bump from him. He did. So Jey's still on Sammy's side, maybe. But man, it's gonna be heartbreaking when Jey super kicks Sammy at Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Oh, man. However,
that one's gonna hurt.
However, we got Jimmy and Paul backstage, and Paul said, on order of Roman, maybe just stay home in Elimination Chamber. Just don't show up to the show. He either said that about the Chamber or about the go home. So it's one of those two that Jimmy will not be there for. Or he'll be defiant and still show up. So it's a matter of, will Jey turn on Sammy and stay with the bloodline, or will Jimmy turn on Roman and leave the bloodline along with Jey?
There's so much delicious drama to eat up here.
Yeah. But Jey 100%, I feel like, is going to ruin that title match for Sammy.
Yeah, I get a funny feeling too.
And then who knows how the match against Cody's going to go. Maybe Sammy ruins it for Roman. Maybe that's when the Usos part from Roman. I don't know. Oh, man, I don't know. It's some good stuff, though.
It is.
We also had a fatal four-way for number one contendership for Gunther's record-breaking Intercontinental title reign, which I think he's now the longest reigning Intercontinental champ in the 21st century.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was between Karrion Kross, Rey Mysterio, Madcap Moss, and Santos Escobar. Can you guess who won?
I can, but only because it was spoiled for me. If it hadn't been spoiled for me, I would not have guessed correctly.
You see, I was thinking like, oh, it's going to be Santos, or maybe Rey, or Karrion, but definitely not Madcap Moss. He's just there to eat the pin. Little did we know, Rey Mysterio was there to eat the pin for Madcap Moss. So Moss won after Karrion delivered an elbow to the back of Rey Mysterio's head. And I think Santos delivered a Phantom Driver to Rey, and the Madcap Moss delivered a flying elbow onto Rey for the win.
It's crazy.
So
it's fucking,
yeah, it's gonna be an easy win for Gunther. And that's all we had. Didn't watch Rampage. Nothing really happened on it, as far as I know.
Cesaro and the Butcher yelled at each other like they had a bald man off.
Butcher's not bald.
Yeah. Butcher is bald now. Butcher cut all his hair off.
When you said he
Yes,
got
he
a
is.
haircut, I thought it was like he just got it cut, like
Oh no,
shortened.
no, no, no. He yeah, it's all gone. He's just got the big mustache now, which is
Interesting.
a look.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about the 5 best matches of the week. I think without a doubt. Oh, we also had Vengeance Day, which we did a live stream for. Um, Great show, really fun all around. Amazing opener between Wesley and Dijak. Um,
I saw the picture, by the way. I finally saw the picture.
oh, of the finger.
Yeah.
Oh my god, is the middle finger?
Well, I saw that, but then I also saw like the picture of the finger at like the match, and I was like,
Yeah. For those that don't know, Dijak had his finger dislocated, and his finger was like crooked 45 degrees. Oh my god, it was gnarly. Also, Dijak apparently wore a trench coat that said "Reach for the Sky" on the back, and
oh,
he's putting that coat up for auction, and 100% of the money made from it goes to the Pugh family.
well, that's nice.
Yeah. All right, top 5 matches of the week. I think I can stop me if you disagree with any of these.
Okay.
So best one, MJF versus Takeshita.
Okay.
Then I know you didn't watch it, but Hiromu Takahashi versus Yo.
Yeah, I can accept that.
Then Wesley versus Dijak.
Okay.
Next I would say Top Flight and AR Fox versus the Elite.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
And then the last one, um, hmm. Um, for me, it's between Roosh versus Bryan Danielson and New Day versus Gallus versus Pretty Deadly versus Chase U. Both were great.
Um, I don't know. That is a hard one. Personally, the tag match sticks in my brain a little more.
Okay, I'll go with that then. All right, so those are our top 5 matches of the week. And reminder, if you guys have questions for us about wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever, leave it in the chat now, and we'll answer it starting now as we go into our little fun activity. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. We'll get to it in the next episode. If you're listening on Spotify, DM us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast with your question. All right. So do you want to know what my little activity is?
I guess I'm gonna have to find out, aren't I?
So with Elimination Chamber coming up, we did the same thing with Survivor Series. How I had you guess. How many people did I have you guess? 3 people? Or you had to just get one right of who was in the match?
Yeah.
We're doing the same with Elimination Chamber. You have to guess one person in either Elimination Chamber match. We'll start recent and go back and see how far you can go.
How many elimination chambers were there?
It's I don't remember when it started. There are 12. There are only 12 elimination
12.
chambers. Yeah. So we'll start with 2022. And you can guess either women's or men's. We'll say you have to guess two wrestlers total. And you've got 3 chances. No, just guess one, and you have 3 chances. And you can ask for one person in either of those matches, but you can't guess them anymore after you've asked for that hint.
Okay.
So 2022. And the The headlining match was Roman Reigns versus Goldberg. This was the Saudi Elimination Chamber from last year. So there was a women's and a men's. You can guess someone in either of those.
Was Liv Morgan in it?
Liv Morgan was in the women's. It was Nikki Ash versus Doudrop versus Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley versus Alexa Bliss versus Bianca Belair. The men's was Bobby Lashley versus Seth freaking Rollins versus Riddle versus AJ Styles, Austin Theory, and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, okay.
All right, 2021. This was in Florida. This was headlined with The Miz versus Drew McIntyre. After The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And we also had Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan as well. So there were 2 Elimination Chamber matches, one for the SmackDown, one for Raw.
Daniel Bryan was in it.
Daniel Bryan was in it. He was the first entrant, along with Jey Uso, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and King Corbin. The Raw one had Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Jeff Hardy, Kofi Kingston, and Randy Orton.
I was gonna guess Drew as well, but I just remembered how bad we felt for Daniel Bryan when he won the Elimination Chamber match, and then Roman was like, "Hey," and I was like,
I feel like that moment's not talked about enough. How it was like everyone thought it was going to be the matches down the road, but Roman just said, no, we're going to have the match right here, right after the chamber.
That was cruelty.
All right, so next we had 2020's Elimination Chamber in Philadelphia. This had a SmackDown Tag Team Elimination Chamber match and a Women's Elimination Chamber match. The pay-per-view was headlined with, let's see, had Braun Strowman versus the Artist Collective, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro for the IC title.
Wasn't this the one with Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler in it?
Yes, it was. Had them, Heavy Machinery, Lucha House Party, The New Day, The Usos, and The Miz and Morrison, who won. The women's had Sarah...
Oh, go on. No, finish.
The women's had Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott, Natalya, Liv Morgan, Asuka, and Shayna Baszler, and Shayna eliminated everyone.
Wow. Yeah, no, I remember because that was I watched that back, and that was when I realized that Glorious Domination was an incredible fucking song.
All right, 2019 in Texas. There were 2 chamber matches. The inaugural WWE Women's Tag Team Championship Elimination Chamber match and the WWE Championship Eliminator Chamber match. The pay-per-view was headlined with Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott for the Raw Women's Championship, and Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush for the IC title.
Let's think of something that we haven't talked about yet.
This is 2019.
What about AJ?
AJ Styles was in the men's chamber match, along with Samoa Joe,
holy shit,
Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Kofi Kingston, and Daniel Bryan. The women's one... I'm
slowly going to stop knowing what I'm talking about, by the way.
The women's one had Carmella and Naomi, the Iconics, the Riot Squad, Nia Jax and Tamina, Fire and Desire, and the Boss and Hug Connection.
Okay.
All right, let's go to 2018. This one had women's and men's chamber matches. Not for any title. Actually, no, the women's looks like it did have a title on the line. Pay-per-view also had Cesaro and Sheamus versus Titus Worldwide for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Give me Bailey.
Bailey was in the women's one,
Holy
along with
shit.
Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Mickie James, Sasha Banks, and Alexa Bliss. The men's had The Miz, Elias, John Cena, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and Roman Reigns. And Braun eliminated everyone except Roman Reigns. I don't think we watched that one at all, because I don't remember watching one with Mickie James in it. All right, let's see. We got 2017. Still on a roll. We had a tag team turmoil. That's not an elimination chamber match. We had a single men's elimination chamber match. So you got one match with 6 people.
2017, you said?
2017. The pay-per-view was headlined with Naomi versus Alexa Bliss for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Give me Rey Mysterio.
Ooh, Rey Mysterio was not in it. You got 2 more chances. Rey was not on the card. I don't even think he was in WWE at that point.
Maybe not, yeah.
I think that's when he was a free agent.
Give me Miz?
The Miz was in it. Along with Baron Corbin, Dean Ambrose, John Cena, AJ Styles, and Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt won. All right, let's go to 2015. So we skipped over 2016. We're going right to 15. There were 2 chambers, one for the tag team titles, one for the IC title. And this pay-per-view featured Nikki Bella versus Naomi and Paige for the Divas Championship.
Give me Kofi.
Kofi Kingston was in the tag team championship match. Why does it say it was a trio? I guess it was. Him, Biggie, and Xavier Woods won the tag team titles against Titus O'Neil. Oh. Huh. Because it seems like it's one person from each team, but they had 3 people. That's weird.
Oh.
Diego from Los Matadores, Kalisto, Victor, Cesaro, and Titus O'Neil. The IC title match had King Barrett, R-Truth, Mark Henry, Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus, and Ryback. And Ryback won.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, 2014.
First timeline.
2014, let's see. Okay. This one had a single chamber match. Also featured Big E versus Jack Swagger for the IC title.
Oh, I thought there was going to be more than that. Give me Cena.
John Cena was in it, alongside Sheamus.
Holy shit.
Sheamus, Christian, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton.
Have fun.
All right, 2013. There was a single chamber match. This pay-per-view had The Rock versus CM Punk for the WWE Championship. And who was in this chamber match? This was for a World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania.
Edge.
Edge was not in it.
Ah.
It was not on the show at all.
Okay.
You got 2 more chances.
Oh yeah, because Edge probably wasn't around then. Dumbass. Give me. Can I ask for Cena again?
John Cena was not in it. John Cena.
Oh my god, this can't be the first one I lose.
John Cena was in a trios match alongside Ryback and Sheamus against the Shield. So you have one more chance.
Give me Christian, since he was in the last one.
Christian was not in it.
Okay.
Do you want one last chance?
Yeah, remind me of the year again.
2013. 10 years ago.
Can't remember yesterday. You know what? Give me Jericho.
Chris Jericho was in it.
Wow, okay.
It was him, Daniel Bryan, Kane, Mark Henry, Randy Orton, and Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger won.
Okay.
All right, 2012. You got two chambers, one for the WWE Championship, one for the World Heavyweight Championship. So a lot to pick from. This pay-per-view also had John Cena versus Kane in an ambulance match.
Daniel Bryan?
Daniel Bryan was in the World Heavyweight Championship one. He retained against Great Khali, Big Show, Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, and Santino Marella. The other one had CM Punk, The Miz, Chris Jericho, Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, and R-Truth. All right. 2011. Two chambers, one for SmackDown, one for Raw. The SmackDown one was for the World Heavyweight Championship. Yes. The pay-per-view also had The Miz versus Jerry Lawler for the WWE Championship. For some reason.
Give me Randy.
Randy Orton was on the Raw one. So, it's correct. He fought against R-Truth, King Sheamus, John Morrison, CM Punk, and John Cena. The other one had Edge, Rey Mysterio, Kane, Drew McIntyre, Big Show, and Wade Barrett. 2010, this is the final one. There were two chambers, one for SmackDown, one for Raw. And this pay-per-view had Batista versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. So
Give me Edge.
Edge was not in it.
Come on.
Edge,
I literally just saw a clip from Elimination Chamber that had Edge in it, and I was thinking when you brought this up, I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna be able to get one of them at least.
Edge was not at this pay-per-view at all. Another match that was on the card was Drew McIntyre versus Kane for the Intercontinental Championship. So give me another guess.
Give me Jericho again.
Chris Jericho was in the SmackDown one. He won it against The Undertaker, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, and R-Truth. The other one was John Cena, Triple H, Sheamus, Kofi Kingston, Ted DiBiase, and Randy Orton. So good job. You kind of did it all.
I'm actually quite proud of myself for my showing in that.
Very nice. Very nice. So that's it. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
Yes, because I have to make a cheesecake. If you tuned in today, thank you so much. And if you tune in the future, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Please tune in. Thursday. Because we will be doing our 2K22 stream. And that's always a good time. And then tune in. Sorry, I've got like a hiccup that just keeps wanting to come up, and I don't want it to. Then we'll be back next Saturday, I think, right?
Next Saturday we'll be doing a live watch along for The Chamber.
Oh, okay. Well,
And
tune in for that. That'll be fun.
we might also continue into Battle in the Valley if we're feeling up to it.
Yeah.
So, thank you all for watching. Follow and subscribe, all that jazz. Yeah, next week will be predictions for Battle in the Valley and Chamber, as well as the live watch-alongs for those. Thursday, 2K22, Battle of the Brands, as we prepare for the release of 2K23. So, we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. If you enjoy the Super Bowl, enjoy the Super Bowl. If not, have a happy Sunday. The Superb Owl. And a great start to your week as well. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.